What's going on, everybody? How we all doing? Today I am going to be talking about why the CRF300L is such a great beginner-friendly adventure bike. So the CRF300L is an amazing 50/50 true dual sport bike. That means if you're new, if you want to commute and explore, if you want to learn dirt without getting overwhelmed, this is the perfect bike for you. This bike makes a ton of sense for a beginner bike. One of the biggest reasons this bike works well is because it's light, it's predictable, really easy not to kill yourself on it. You can make mistakes on this bike. It forgives you. It's real lenient on mistakes. You could always, or not always, but you're more likely to recover from a mistake that you had made. So this bike can cover all ADV scenarios depending on how you set it up, which that's what I set mine up, is for motocamping. It's got a big front wheel. It's got some good suspension travel, stock. Now you're gonna find this isn't just a street bike pretending to be an ATV. This isn't just a street bike pretending to be an ADV. With a big front wheel and rear suspension travel, you could actually take this thing in the woods, gravel, sand, whatever you name it. That means if you're new, you're not limited right away. It could do it all. It's very versatile. It's very good. At the same time, being pretty capable off-road, you could take this thing on the street. Cruising 60, 75 is pretty comfortable. It's doable. And honestly, having too much power keeps you out of trouble. You wouldn't want to be driving this thing like a street bike, swerving left and right, passing traffic wherever you can. You could ride this thing to work. You could ride it at night. You could ride it early morning. You could ride it anywhere. The one thing, or the one reason why I got this bike is very easy to learn on. It teaches you proper riding skills, throttle control, clutch control, basic balancing. It's definitely taught me a lot of things that I did not know, since this is my first ever bike. If you start too big, you kind of lose the fundamentals of learning how to ride like that. You can mess things up. It's more expensive to repair. This bike is very affordable. You can find parts pretty much anywhere. A ton of the older CRF300L models, a lot of the frame parts, so anything that's on the frame will pretty much work in a pinch. The engine did get changed in the 300L variant, but you could still salvage a couple of the little parts that you need, and it will work pretty good. This bike is pretty cheap for actually being a dirt bike. If you drop it, it takes the stress out of it, and they're built like a dirt bike. You could drop this thing. I mean, you could already see, I'll show you on this side. You could already see that I have dropped this thing a couple of times. Oh my God. So I got some scrapes here, scrapes there. I got some scrapes on the fender. Yeah, so you won't feel as bad dropping one of these bikes because it's not going to damage anything. These plastic pieces bend and they conform. So, I mean, if you do drop it, nothing's really going to break. These bikes come in at, I think, a whopping 300 pounds. So it's very nimble, very agile, very light. So you could get away with a lot of stuff that other bikes could not. You're not dragging around 500 pounds when you tip over. You can pick it up on your own. And it is great for a solo adventure bike because that is one of the biggest things you need to be able to do in a pinch. If you're solo, you drop this bike and you cannot lift it, then that is going to be a very bad time. You're going to be stuck. So this is why I truly recommend this bike. If this thing's on the ground, you could pick it up. It's pretty light. On that same topic, this bike is really easy to balance on. It's easier to maneuver through technical terrain, mud, everything else. It's really easy to do that since it's so light. You won't get as tired as quick, and it really helps you build confidence on a bike. I remember whenever I first actually hopped on this bike, dude, I was absolutely terrified. I brought it off the lot, got it home, and I was so scared after I got out of the mentality of, oh my god, I'm gonna drop this thing. I really don't want to drop this brand new bike I got. Um, Riding got a lot easier. With ADV, you really do need to drop a bike and learn from your mistakes. That's one of my biggest thing. Is if you're constantly worried about, I'm gonna drop this thing, or I don't know how to do this, or other scenarios like what if, then it's not really gonna be your thing, because you're truly gonna learn from your mistakes. Like, maybe I shouldn't have used too much front brake, maybe I shouldn't have used too much rear brake. Why did this happen? You have to question yourself and actually figure out and apply yourself of what went wrong. So don't get me wrong, big adventure bikes are amazing. They're a great tool for adventuring. They make sense when you're experienced, when you're going long distances and you want more capacity on a bike for aluminum shell casing, or not shell casings, but aluminum storage. So the big boxy crates you could put on the side, they're really nice and spacious. But if you're just starting out solo, I would recommend something like this, something like I got. So my recommendation for this bike in particular, you want the basic necessities. I mean, you got your gloves. Now I dropped one of my gloves. You got your gloves. You got your boots, which, I mean, these are not dirt bike boots, but they are steel-toe boots. Any boot is better than no boot. At least some blue jeans and a long sleeve shirt or a jacket. That's what I would personally recommend, because you dress for the slide. You don't need the top tier stuff. I mean, I don't even have the top tier stuff. These are a decent, I mean, I've heard of this brand, but I've never seen like expensive stuff made from this company. These are just like I think a $35 pair of gloves. My boots are like $100. You don't need the best of the best when showing up. I mean, you could just go out there and have fun. You don't need pro MX boots and the best helmet you can get. But I would recommend getting a decent helmet. I would not cheap out on that, is protecting your noggin. So that's one of the things that I do take seriously. I would rather spend a lot more on a helmet than any other protective equipment that I get, because that's like your most vital organ. Now there is 3 mods that I will recommend for this bike, and that is going to be your tires. The stock tires are okay. I just put on a brand new set. Stock tires are okay, but they do not really handle well on-road, and they're kind of okay-ish off-road. They cake up really bad. You start to slide everywhere. On-road, they'll beat you to death, and it's not a fun experience. The other thing I would, like, the non-negotiable thing that you really need to get with any ADV style bike is a skid plate. I'm eventually going to swap this skid plate out for something that's metal, because this is like a hard plastic. But if you kick up a log and it goes into your engine, you're out of business. So I would recommend definitely getting a skid plate. Factor it into your price. It's one of the most important things whenever you're doing stuff like this. And finally, which I do not have, but I really need to get, is a radiator protector. These radiators are so exposed. If anything pokes them, or you drop it and it cracks and it starts to leak, you're out of luck. You're going to be stuck. So definitely would recommend factoring in a radiator mount for a protector, which are pretty simple to do. You just take off this whole side piece and you have access to it, and it's just one boltable piece that you could put on. It's normally aluminum. You could get a couple other options, and I would advise that you get one. And finally, I would recommend getting a pair of handguards. You don't have to go as crazy as I went, where I actually bolted them onto the forks, but definitely would get some handguard protectors. You're going to be dropping this thing, you're going to be hitting trees, and you want to protect as much as you can on your handlebars from being destroyed. The first time I ever got this bike, I took it out, was ripping around the woods, got a little bit too overconfident. I slid out and snapped my clutch lever, and I was way out in the trails. I actually did manage to snap it off where I had the tiniest little clutch lever, and I used that to get back home. But any type of break in here and you're done. So I would totally recommend getting one, or like a set. You don't have to go super duper expensive. They sell these same ones. You could get like a cheap pair on Amazon for like 35 bucks, 40 bucks. But if you do want to get some decent ones, these are the ones I'm running. They're really nice. I've already nicked a couple of things with them, and they've protected my handlebars. Whenever it comes to like bags and storage, I would not recommend getting very expensive aluminum side carriage bags. I would honestly just get a rack, which is what I have done. I need to move this strap, but I got a rack, and then I put some Rhino, what are these called? Rhino walk bags. They're like $150, I think, dollars on Amazon you could get. I added a top rack with a 10, I think it's 10-liter roll bag for clothes and stuff. And that's all I have for storage. Oh, and the actual front bag. This is nice for like your wallet and your keys and things that you want to access really easily. And then I have a toolkit. So this has all the tools I would need to fix this bike if something was to break. I have everything that I'd possibly ever need. All wrenches. I have extra tube in here. I have zip ties, electrical wire, electrical tape. I have a pair of strippers, and I have a couple other little tools in here, but definitely would recommend having a toolkit on your bike if you're going to be doing this type of stuff. You also want bags that are going to be waterproof. You don't want your gear getting soaking wet before you get to where you're going to be. So I would totally recommend investing in that. So some of you guys are like, "Oh yeah, this bike is awesome. I'm pumped. I'm gonna buy it." But there are some pretty major cons about this bike that you really do need to address. Or if you like the way it drives, then you could still ride it. I didn't really mind it, but one thing is the suspension. The stock suspension. You are gonna bottom out on the suspension. Depending on how much you actually load in these side crates and how much gear you have packed, what type of terrain you're going over, how heavy you are, it's a lot of factors that go into it, but you will bottom out. So I would really recommend that you guys actually do replace the suspension on it. Power is another big thing. Power is not really there on this bike. It's just enough to cruise around and have fun, but if you're wanting to rip around at like 80 to 90 miles an hour through trails, it's not happening. You're not going to be able to do that on one of these bikes. It will cruise comfortably at 65 to 70. Other than that, that's about as fast as you're going to go, which I think is perfectly fine. A lot of the riding that I do is not on the interstate. I don't really have too many needs for all of the power, so that's why I picked up one of these bikes. Wind protection, if you're going on adventures and you want a windscreen, unless you get the rally version of this thing, you are not going to have any wind protection whatsoever. So you'll definitely be feeling it whenever you're 5 to 6 miles in and you're wishing that you had a windscreen, which you can purchase them, but what I found is they are pretty expensive to get. I think the cheapest one that I found was about $150 for a windscreen. So if that's something you're looking for, that is another big con of this bike. And sadly, coming to the conclusion of why this bike is so awesome is this is not a forever bike. This is a bike that you start out on, you have fun on. I mean, you could keep this bike, but people are going to get very lackluster with the power performance of this bike. You would have to dump a ton of money to get this thing to get like a couple more horsepower. Enough to do to like go over logs and stuff like that. It's enough to have fun on, but it's not going to be blazing fast. You're not going to be cruising at 90 to 100 mile an hour. It's just not happening on this bike. If you want to tour cross country and enjoy your ride, take your time, do little trails like this, then this is the absolute perfect bike. You could pick up one of these bikes for, I think I got mine at, I think it was $6,500, brand new from the dealership. $6,500, I got this bike brand new, which is absolutely amazing. You're not really going to beat a lot of other bikes for that price. You can get the 250L, but you do lose a lot of features that the 300 has. This bike honestly lets you learn, experience, adventure. If you're brand new to ADV riding like I am, this bike has been an absolute blast riding around, especially on the road. It's so much fun. I enjoy coming out and actually riding this thing around the trails and exploring. I do have a lot of big plans for this bike. This is only just the start of the of this bike. I mean, I started this YouTube back in June or July whenever I got this bike, and by the time I had made a couple of YouTube videos, it was already November and starting to get cold, so it's been in storage. From what I've experienced to this bike, it has been an absolute blast. I've also driven a couple of faster bikes, and the message I want to get through to everybody is ride at your own pace. That's the biggest thing. If you're with a group of people and they're going faster with you, do not push your limits and get yourself injured. If I changed some of you guys' opinion on this bike, please leave a comment. Let me know some of your cons or pros. That's just what I have noticed about this bike. It has treated me well. There is some things that I would really like to change about this bike. You probably have heard me in previous YouTube videos complaining about a couple of things, but a lot of it I have actually situated. There's just a couple of little tweaks that I haven't got to. This one's just my fault. I haven't actually fixed the throttle cable. You can see how much play is in it. I'm like barely even turning it, and it's not even moving. I have like so much. So riding around trails has been really difficult because of that, and it's pretty simple to do. I just haven't done it yet. I love the seat height. It is the perfect height for, I'm a pretty tall guy, and it's like the perfect height. I could sit on it comfortably, and I could actually flat foot this bike, and it's just been a joy. You sit really nice on the seat. I haven't really had too much of an issue with the seat being uncomfortable for longer rides. Man, these mosquitoes are driving me insane. Get out of here. Rah, rah. They're freaking flying all over me. Yeah, but it's just been a great overall bike. I've heavily modified this bike, but it's nothing. I have not changed anything about the engine. The only thing I changed was the air filter, and I put in an aftermarket air filter that was a little bit better, and I did the exhaust. I put a new exhaust on it because I wanted something to sound like a dirt bike. I mean, if I'm getting a dirt bike, I want it to sound like a dirt bike. Cruising this bike has been a lot of fun. It's a great grocery getter if you want to ride around town. The fuel mileage is absolutely amazing. I mean, a tank of gas, I could ride this thing to and from work all week long and still be at like half a tank. So it's not horrible. I'm pretty sure it's like 70 miles to the gallon, which is absolutely insane. Mind you, the fuel tank is only 2.1 gallons, so you will run into some issues there. They do sell gas tanks that you could upgrade if that is going to be an issue for those longer rides. So yeah, if that answers your question, I just wanted to make this video for you guys because I've gotten a lot of people asking in previous videos, like, is this a good bike? I know a lot of people search it, is this a good bike? Because the deal is almost like too good to be true, but from my experience personally, I've put it through its paces and it's kept its word. I mean, it has been such a phenomenal experience being on this bike. I've ridden a couple of other bikes, and yes, yes, you do get more out of another bike, but if you want something that is good all around, this is your bike right here. This bike will do it all, especially for the price. Like, that's the biggest thing about this bike, is the price is just so good. You could even find them used on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. You could find them. The cheapest I have found one was $2,500 with only 1,000 miles on it, which is absolutely insane for these bikes. They're super duper easy to work on. Whenever I first got this bike, I knew absolutely nothing about dirt bikes and stuff. I've only ever been around ATVs, but just know, if you fiddle with it long enough, you'll figure it out. And if you don't, there is plenty of YouTube videos out there showing you how to do it step by step, what you're trying to do. I have struggled with a couple of projects on this bike, and just by watching a couple of YouTube videos, I actually understood what I was doing and what I needed to do. It's just extremely simple, and you really only need like 5 wrenches to completely disassemble this bike. It's absolutely insane. This has been my first ever experience like this. I've never made a video like this in my life, so hopefully I did a good job. Ooh, I'm on a log. Oh. Alright. Yeah, I was on a log right there. These tires feel different. They feel great though. I'm so glad that I got them. They're actually the TKC 80 Twin Duro. They're a 50/50 tire. They're off-road and on-road, so that's the main reason you want to get different tires. Alright. It's a bit muddy. Slide out in the mud. Ooh. Oh, it's so muddy. Yeah, I just wanted to come out here and make a quick video for you guys because, I knew I wasn't really going to be riding today. But I wanted to give you at least something. We've been getting a lot of rain, so the ground is pretty slick. First gear is like so tall too. Yeah, but once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I just wanted to give you guys something a little bit different since everybody was asking questions. I had a couple of buddies asking questions about this bike as well, so hopefully this explains some stuff for you guys. Anyways, I'm out of here. I'm actually gonna adjust this throttle real quick, and then I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, later everybody.